It's MLB Moneyball time. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Let me
and the
host.
Toronto Blue Jays agree on a 14-year, $500 million extension that starts in 2026 and includes no deferrals. So Vladdy gets his contract, his lifetime contract with the Blue Jays, and I'm gonna get some reaction here. George Springer after the game said after the Jays win, he deserves it. I'm happy for the city, the fans, the country. I firmly believe that he's going to be hanging in the Raptors. Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez, the two play-by-play announcers for the Blue Jays. It's the most important signing in franchise history, and it's actually wild that they asked Kyle Tucker of the Chicago Cubs what he thought on that. NL Player of the Week, Kyle Tucker. He was NL Player of the Week. He did bat, what was that, 311, 391, with two doubles, three homers, and eight RBIs, 1,400 OPS. That's pretty much like you're raking. But they did ask him, the NL Player of the Week and free agent to be, Kyle Tucker, after this season about his deal. It's what he wanted to do. I'm sure he loves playing in Toronto. That's great for him. Everyone is a little different. Right now, I'm here to play this year and play for the Cubs. We'll see where everything goes after that. What gets me the most is why are we asking Kyle Tucker that? Why? I understand it's a big time contract. I understand that it's a very expensive contract. Kyle Tucker just finished the game playing against the Texas Rangers. And we're asking him post game about what he thinks another man signed for. I love the answer that he said. I'll play for the Cubs. I'm not worried about that right now.
It was a trap question. It was 100% a trap question to ask him that. And it's the Cubs beat writers and the Cubs media that wants to get some inkling of, can I drop a story, like a little bombshell about, is Kyle Tucker committed to being here long term or is he gone? And that's his quote at the end. You can tell Kyle Tucker is very media trained about this, saying that everyone's a little different, right? He's implying that he really doesn't care. He really doesn't give two about that contract. It's great for Vlad. Awesome. He got his money. But right now, he's a Chicago Cub, and he's playing for the Cubs this season. And that's the correct media-trained answer, so that you, A, don't give anything away, and B, you can tell the media to get off your coattails a little bit and just let you play the game.
It's absolutely ridiculous because me being a Cubs fan, seeing you ask about a player that has nothing to do with your team, that's like asking him, what do you think about Juan Soto? And he's going to play him in about he plays him 2 times a year.
Can I give you a reporter perspective of this? You guys are more baseball guys than I am, so I'll let you kind of handle that. But from a reporter standpoint, when you are at the podium, and Jalen, you can attest to this as well because you've done this. When you're at the podium and you're asking these questions, your goal is not to, it's not to. Your goal is to create an audience. Okay, that's exactly what he did. He did his job. Now,
no one said he didn't. Oh yeah,
no. I'm just saying, like, but the question itself, there's little morality behind some of these questions that people have to start recognizing a little bit better. But you just don't ask those type of questions, I feel like, in those type of settings, especially after a game. And, maybe like the locker room beforehand, that's probably the better place to do that.
Exactly. Pre-game is where you ask all of those kind of questions.
Right. When it happens, like, you go to the players in the locker room before a game or, before a road trip game or something like that and be like, okay, like, what do you think about this? Like, what's your thoughts? Like, give us a little background on, what you think as a player. Because we do really want to see the player's perspective. I do agree with that.
Of course.
But
you could have waited till today to ask him.
Right. But to ask him after the game, did they win that game?
They beat the Rangers 7-0. Everything was
if it was a loss, it would be like a, what are we doing? Why are we asking about? But like since they won, I give it a little bit of push off, like it's cool, whatever. But in a setting that I personally would do it is pregame or outside setting that doesn't involve them being in the game currently. So just from a reporter's standpoint, like it didn't really rub me the wrong way. Just the fact that it was just after the game and it was just inappropriate timing. But that's all I have to say about that.
Well, Vladimir Guerrero could have signed for a contract a lot cheaper if he did it last season, because they were trying to get him for a cheaper. I think it was like $150-some million less. So we could look at all the players over the past, decade, big contracts. You got Juan Soto getting $765 million, which is absolutely insane. So he just absolutely he just overtook Ohtani with that contract. Mike Trout, $426.5 million was the biggest for a long time. This happened, like 6-7 years ago when he signed that contract? So we all think like, wow, that is an insane amount of money. But here comes Shohei Ohtani and here comes Juan Soto. Granted, Juan Soto's a fantastic player.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the best players. But he doesn't pitch.
No need to.
You can get the Shohei Ohtani because you're getting two players in a package of one. You can live with the Shohei Ohtani contract for $700 million. But when you look at Juan Soto, in about a few years, you're going to just be a DH soon. You're going to be not as age happens, you're going to get older, and you're not going to be able to play the field as much. How about Bryce Harper signed for $330 million? At the time, we thought that was crazy. He's all the way at 9 now.
Yeah,
like these contracts are getting insane. Now, I'm not saying that they're not worth it at all, but when you start talking about $500-400 million, man, you better start bringing titles.
Can anyone do it? I'm asking you, like, just as a question, because you know more about baseball than I do. Can anybody do what Juan Soto's doing, like at his level? Can anyone get to that? Besides Ohtani, obviously, I think Ohtani could probably do anything that anyone else can do. But as Soto's position, can you see anyone else in the league doing exactly what he's doing?
You got like Bobby Witt Jr. coming up.
At that level, like can they replicate what he's doing for his team? Like that's
the short
contract.
Well, if you look at Witt, he was the MVP candidate last year for the AL. So I think he can do it. He might get something like that, but he ain't gonna get no $700 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh no,
that's
different teams
so
too.
So there's a lot of context with this Juan Soto contract, and first and foremost, the short answer to your question, Naz, is yes.
Okay,
guys can.
Mm-hmm.
The long answer to your question is yes, but there's nobody at Soto's age that's doing the same things he's doing. The guys that are doing the same things he's doing are all like 31, 32, 33. Right. They're going to be off of their peak in the next couple seasons. Juan Soto is 26.
Exactly. That's my point.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's like halfway through being 26. He'll be 26 nearly this entire season.
So in a technical world, nobody's doing.
No one is doing what he's doing.
26. That's my point.
Exactly.
The contract is 100% worth it, in my opinion, due to his age and him being able to play like those 30, 31-year-olds. Like Jalen, I know you said he's going to be a DH in one of these days, but that's years from now. That's probably towards the end of that contract, if you think about it.
It actually might be sooner than you think because Soto's defense is not the greatest. It could be worse. It could be worse, but it's not great. Jalen, if you wouldn't mind throwing that graphic back up, because there's a lot of context with this too. I mean, look at Ohtani's deal. So Ohtani, like we all agreed on, you're getting two players in one, more or less. Now, granted, will he be pitching well into his 30s? No. So in like 4 or 5 seasons, he'll probably revert to just being a designated hitter again, which he'll still be a terrific hitter. But is it worth the price tag? We're not really so sure. However, you pay the man what he's valued at right now, A, and B, he's committed to your team long-term. See, there's context with all of these. Same with Soto. And the context behind why he got an extra $65 million on top of Ohtani's deal is because Steve Cohen has money.
Big spend.
He has money.
Isn't he the richest in the league right now or something like that?
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah.
So he's got the money to throw at whatever can swing a bat and has 2 legs that can walk. And same with the Dodgers.
When you're an owner,
the Dodgers got the money too.
Yeah.
The Dodgers got it. The Angels, Artie Moreno, he has it. That's why he's been able to shell out money for so long, despite the fact that the Angels are just so bad. But
he bet on himself.
He did bet on himself, and it worked. And it's funny because back in the day, back around that time when he was still a National, people and execs in the league were laughing at him for saying, why in the hell are you turning down 15 years for 40? Then he gets traded to the Padres, turns up there. Then he goes to the Yankees, and him and Judge nearly will that team to the world, like to winning the World Series. then you give that man a blank check and he just fills in whatever he wants.
What's crazy
at that
is
point.
if you think about it, Juan Soto has more money than Shohei Ohtani by like $400 million, because Shohei Ohtani is two players in one. So you break that in half, that's $365 million in two players.
Sheesh.
If you think about it, Mike Trout has more money than Ohtani, because Shohei Ohtani is two players.
Right.
Juan Soto is getting like over $400 million more than Ohtani. So obviously the numbers total itself is 65. But when you actually break down, when you break down the contract, you break down Juan Soto's getting like 400-something plus million dollars more. I mean, he's getting paid $365 million combined.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, wow.
Just my question to you guys is like, these contracts, are they gonna be good for the future of baseball? Because someone's hitting that billion mark eventually, man. And
someone's gonna hit it. Yep.
Same thing for basketball. Someone's gonna hit that 500 mil mark, and it's just gonna be chaos. And for I don't know how it works in baseball, but I know in basketball it works. Like the higher you're paid, the less likely you're gonna be able to bring in another good player. So I know it probably works the same metrics the way
no cap in baseball, so they can bring in like the Dodgers.
There's no cap room. So is that even going to be a good look for some of those teams? Because with those contracts, they're just rising at an exponential rate, man. It's
when
crazy.
You talk about that, it's going to kill the small teams, the small markets.
Small markets as a Brewers fan,
never going to be able to afford a player.
Our GM and owner do not like spending money in Milwaukee at all.
Well,
so he likes trading. He likes trading cards.
Don't like to spend.
He likes trading cards, low-level English soccer, and allegedly stealing sand from Long Beach. And that's really what the Brewers ownership likes to do. And the problem with small markets too is that, yeah, you can cheer all you want about selling the team, but if they sell the team, you're not going to have a team anymore. They're gone. They're shipping up and moving out of town because your market's not profitable. It's obviously, like, considering it's a small market, that means it's not profitable.
Like, for example,
professional sports.
What did we do? What did we do with Churio? We when we drafted
10 years.
10 years. Right?
He was an international free agent signing out of Venezuela, and then going into 2 seasons ago when he skyrocketed through the minor league system. The team decided to give him 8 years, 82.
Before he was even like 18 or something like that, right?
Before he was 20. He was 19 years old.
Yeah.
He signed for 8 years, 82, with 2 player options attached at the end that make it a total of, I think it's, I just talked to some guys from 97.3 The Game about this the other day. It makes it like 10 years, 115, I think it is.
And the reason they did that.
And we were talking about they got to do that soon with this next crop of guys coming up. Jesus Madej, Cooper Pratt, Jacob Mizorowski, Craig Yoho. I mean, these guys have potential to be elite baseball players as their ceilings. Lock them up now.
The small market teams need to do that.
Jesus Madej is not, granted, he's 17 years old. You're not going to do this for a couple more years with him. But Jesus Madej is not going to look 9 years, 85 million in the face and say no.
Yep.
At 18, 19 years old, he's not going to do that. There's no way, because you think about, you need an agent to describe some of this, right? But long story short, contract renewability in baseball basically means you're getting next to nothing for the first 3-4 years of your big league career.
Exactly.
Teams are going to give you as little pay as possible. Granted, the minimum contract is about $800,000. So you're probably going to be making close to $800,000 for the first 3-ish years of your career.
And that's okay.
And if you are an elite player, you don't start making like 8 figures until probably year 6.
Like incentives come with that too, don't they? Like when those first 3 years,
Yeah, they can and they will, and they'll come around. But guys like Madej, like, would you pass up if you were in those shoes? You're a 19-year-old possible phenom or prospect, and you were faced with, I'm only here for 7 years, so I get to free agency earlier, but I have to make a lot less money, or I can get guaranteed 10 years and guaranteed $9 million a season plus incentives instead of getting paid $800K for the first 4 years, I'm taking that deal. There's no way I say no to that.
The last thing I'll say is small market teams better prepare, because as these contracts continue to rise, as a Brewers fan, I've been watching recently as being closer with them now with my new job. I've been seeing it and paying more attention to players and their contracts and what we have in the future. You have to lock these guys up because they will leave to go to a big market team, and it's just like the Packers all over again. Anyone who comes to the Packers or Bucks, they leave and they go play better somewhere else. It happens every time. So if you're smart as an owner and as a GM, you have to lock them up and prepare to be a developing team, not a free agent team. So that's exactly what you have to do. Small market teams.
It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one for small market for sure, especially for teams like the Cubs who don't like to spend.
You should be a big market team
as
though.
well.
You Chicago.
And they're a big market. So, Vladdy, congratulations to you, man. $500 million. You're set for the rest of your life. You're going to be a Blue Jay for life. And,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.